Japan anime news powered by Newtype. This week, we'll be bringing you the latest information about Disney. Have you ever done that before? Well, I've covered Disney news before. This is Naoki Yoshida, announcer from Nippon Broadcasting. This podcast program delivers anime information to the world. We'll be sharing the latest anime news and Japanese anime culture globally based on information gathered by KADOKAWA's anime magazine Newtype editorial department. Web Newtype currently features an interview with Bandmaid, who performs the opening theme for the anime Rock is a Lady's Pastime. So please check it out. Speaking of Bandmaid, they're incredibly popular overseas. I remember hearing that foreigners often wonder, why are people dressed as maids playing in a band? And thinking, that makes sense. This program was recorded on May 18th, 2025, and translated using the multilingual voice translation tool, Lingueene. Please note that languages other than Japanese are translated by AI and may contain inaccurate expressions. So I just remembered, Bandmaid used to speak with po at the end of their sentences, saying things like poda, because they're little pigeons, so they spoke with po. I wonder how that comes across internationally. Like, how do they translate that? There would be a lot of extra characters if it were cuckoo instead. Anyway, thank you for joining us again this week. We mentioned discussing the latest Disney news, and first of all, Disneyland is apparently celebrating its 70th anniversary. The world's first Disneyland, opened by Walt Disney in 1955, marks its 70th anniversary this year. This is where all theme parks began. That's right, isn't it? Probably. I suppose there were various amusement parks before, but weren't they mostly traveling ones? But speaking of that, do you know where the very first Disneyland in Japan was located? It was on the rooftop of the Nihonbashi Mitsukoshi department store. That's where it first operated. That's how things were back then. It wasn't meant to be a permanent installation, but Walt Disney created that permanent concept in 1955. To commemorate this, the 70th anniversary celebration kicks off on May 16th local time at California Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. Various special events are being launched around the world to coincide with this celebration. In the Northern Hemisphere, including Japan, May is really the best time for outings. I'm sure they're doing all sorts of special things at various locations. And theme parks are already getting crowded. I'd rather go to places like meat festivals, but I'm the type who doesn't directly go for what everyone likes the most. That's probably why I watch anime. And it's been decided that a new official theme song for Mickey Mouse will be produced, with King and Prince singing it. This new official Mickey theme song, following the Mickey Mouse March, will be digitally released on May 23rd. The title of the song is What We Got Miracle Is You. It's based on the Disney song What We Got, released in 2016. King and Prince will be performing it, and apparently a new Disney song with Japanese lyrics has been completed. I feel such a disconnect from this. So I believe today, the 23rd, is the broadcast date for this program. Right? Well, that's how I'm feeling about it. Next, although physically it's quite far away, it somehow doesn't feel that distant. Disney is building its first Middle Eastern theme park in Abu Dhabi. It's expected to be the most technologically advanced park to date, and it's anticipated to serve as a crucial tourism hub connecting travelers from the Middle East to Africa, India, Asia, and Europe. Abu Dhabi is in the United Arab Emirates. And when people think of the UAE, many probably think of Dubai. Dubai and Abu Dhabi are... I suddenly started talking about Abu Dhabi, didn't I? I went there last year. I went to host an anime event where I interviewed director Hayashi from Attack on Titan. Director Hayashi had previously worked on Technolice, and during the event, questions came up about Dorohedoro, which director Hayashi had worked on a while back. You can find proper people like this anywhere. Personally, at the anime event they were holding there, do you know what a kandura is? You know, that white garment that Middle Eastern people wear, right? There were people wearing those kanduras with Demon Slayer's black and green checkered pattern over them, and I thought, wow, anime is really something. I went to Abu Dhabi, and they just started holding anime events there from last year, I believe. The reason they're doing this is simply entertainment. When you think about it, we might be entering an era where fossil fuels are no longer used, right? When that happens, Middle Eastern countries currently thriving on oil and natural gas can't continue as they are. So now, while it's really difficult to create industries from scratch, they're thinking entertainment might be the way to go. I understand, right? Even if you say you're going to build an electric car from scratch now, it's quite challenging with all the technical expertise required. In Japan, they've been manufacturing things continuously since after the war, with hundreds of thousands of engineers. But here, The country's population isn't that large, so they can't suddenly start something like that from zero. However, entertainment is possible. That's why the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia are now heavily investing in entertainment. And of course, they have the budget. The news is that Disney is coming. This new park is planned to be built along the coast of Yas Island, known as a hub for tourism and entertainment. You can really understand it. The entire city is amazing. There's even a branch of the Louvre Museum there, the Louvre Abu Dhabi. They also have Warner Brothers Studio and an incredible aquarium. Yes. iPhone is also there, that's right. Ferrari World, yes, Ferrari World is there. And Disney is coming too. It's really amazing. And Japanese anime isn't being ignored either, showing that Japanese anime still has a strong presence. Also within the United Arab Emirates, there's definitely this intense rivalry between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, right? Everyone keeps saying Dubai, Dubai. But Abu Dhabi has this attitude like, which one do you think is the capital? When I went there last year, I discovered so many things I had no idea about. By the way, we went with the director of Attack on Titan and had fun driving Land Rovers through the desert. It was a real desert. It made me think, so this is what a true desert is like. Now, let's move on to a different work, separate from those global-scale productions. There's an incredibly delicate manga artist named Takako Shimura, and there's news that her work, Awashima Hyake, will be broadcast in 2026, produced by Madhouse. First, Takako Shimura previously had works like Wandering Sun, adapted into anime. That one was directed by Ei Aoki, who directed Fate and Aldnoah Zero, and it's an absolute masterpiece. Surprisingly few people know about it, but it has this gorgeous animation reminiscent of watercolor paintings. I think this might be the first Takako Shimura work to be animated since then. Oh, there was also Sweet Blue Flowers. Anyway, it's been quite a while since those works, probably more than 10 years now, so this is long overdue. Of course, she's continued her activities as an author during this time, but now we have this highly anticipated production from Madhouse. Speaking of Madhouse, they're known for Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Chi, and many others. And now this time, the teaser visual and ultra teaser footage have been released, including comment illustrations by Takako Shimura. For this project, the staff who worked on My Love Story with Yamada-kun at Level 999 has reunited, with Morio Asaka as director, Kunihiko Hamada as character designer, and Yasuhiro Nakanishi handling series composition. By the way, Wandering Sun was from 2011. That's 14 years ago already. The reason it was in the Noitamina slot was because I was hosting a radio show called Noitamina Radio at the time, and that was the very first series we covered. There was this funny incident where we said we're looking for wandering suns in life and got an application from a 45-year-old unemployed man, which was so amusing that we invited him on the show. So, Mamoru Oshii's Angel's Egg, 4K remastered version, just had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. What's going on? For some reason, I'm a huge fan of director Mamoru Oshii. We talk about him quite often on this radio show, don't we? Among Oshii's works, Angel's Egg is considered one of his most incomprehensible pieces. This 4K remastered version was selected for the Cannes Classics section of the 78th Cannes International Film Festival, with its world premiere screening held on May 13th. Released in 1985, it's celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. The OVA format itself practically began around this time. There were others around that period, like Dalos, which the old man made with his mentor director, but Angel's Egg was one of the pioneering works. I think Oshii created something incredible because he was commissioned by the old man and didn't worry about things that other directors would have been concerned about. Looking at it now, you can see how this OVA has truly stood the test of time. Cannes Classics, the classic section of the Cannes Film Festival, was established in 2004 with the aim of showcasing restored masterpieces and rediscovering great films from the past. Japanese films selected for this section have included the 4K restored version of Akira Kurosawa's live-action period drama Seven Samurai, and Japan's first feature-length color animation, The Whitesnake Enchantress. The Cannes people really do their homework, don't they? Without this film, Toei animation wouldn't exist as we know it today. When you research it, you'll find old works like The Whitesnake Enchantress and The Spider and the Tulip. I've seen references to these somewhere. Have you been studying animation history? Yes, I certainly have. Now, about Pokemon. Episode 96 of the Pokemon TV anime aired, and a new character named Snake from Team Kunekune appeared. Was that voice actor Shinichiro Miki's son in that role? Kazuma? Isn't that name too obvious? This is about Shinichiro Miki, who's known for voicing Team Rocket's Kojiro, James, in the Pokemon series. While Mr. Miki has played countless other amazing roles, his son has now appeared in a Team Rocket-like position as part of Team Kunekune. It's becoming quite the talk online. It's truly a family business these days. And yes, he's with 81 Produce, which is his father's agency, right? Mr. Mickey's agency. And he looks just like him, exactly like a young Mr. Mickey. I'm looking at the promotional photos on the website right now, and wow! My goodness, Kenji Nojima's son is also working as a voice actor now. In Kenji Nojima's case, it's actually 3 generations. His father was a voice actor, his brother is a voice actor, and now his son too. It's like voice acting runs in their blood, similar to rakugo performers. Oh yes, that's really become common lately. Right. And then there's Kiko Inoue, whose daughter, Honoka Inoue, actually surpassed her mother's age. That's right, because Kiko is eternally 17 years old. My goodness. Family businesses really are a thing, aren't they? Though in Fukushi Ochiai's case, his father's level is just too extraordinary. That's a bit different, I suppose. Indeed, it's like being a second generation. They used to do something similar in AKB 0048 with the nth generation Mayu Watanabe and such. Similarly, Shinjiro Miki's son, Kazuma Miki, could become the second generation. It's very much like rakugo performers, where they often use names very similar to their fathers until they reach a certain rank. Now let's talk about Bleach. The Black Coffin Pudding is creating quite a buzz. The Bleach World event will be held in Ikebukuro, Tokyo from June 13th to July 27th. It's an event where you can experience the world of Bleach. The Hado do 90 Black Coffin Pudding uses milk pudding and jelly to represent the Black Coffin, and apparently you can only order it if you recite the complete incantation. You really have to do that. Seeping crest of turbidity, arrogant vessel of lunacy. Boil forth and deny, numbness flicker, disrupt sleep. The princess of iron who tears at the seam, the mud doll ever self-restraining. Unite and repel. Fill the earth and know your own powerlessness. Hado 190, Black Coffin. You have to say all that or they won't serve it. People keep saying black sheep instead of coffin though. Ah yes, it says please order the complete edited version. This was the news of the week where everyone had to do it because the stores kept insisting on it. Many people probably remember this. People who truly love Bleach from the bottom of their hearts really do love it deeply. Oh, Nemoto, are you from the generation that remembers this? The generation that remembers... Did you remember who said this? It was Aisen Sosuke. So, Shohayami. Shohayami would totally say something like this. And if you asked him to say it, Mr. Hayami would definitely do it for you because that's the kind of person he is. So that's our news for this week, but I've been receiving lots of emails lately, and I really appreciate it. What's more, we're getting messages from overseas every time. Japan anime news. Reactions from abroad. Hello, this is Kapeine. Thank you again today. Last time I was thrilled to see even more emails coming in. I'm looking forward to seeing our circle of listeners expand. That's so true. It's wonderful when people from overseas tune in. I mentioned last time that Ghost in the Shell VHS tapes were sold in quite a few places in America in the 1990s, and today we touched a bit on director Mamoru Oshii. But certainly, without works like Angel's Egg, there wouldn't have been Ghost in the Shell. Since I doubt Director Oshii or anyone involved is listening, I'll say this. Director Oshii has an extremely strong artistic vision. There was once a proposal for Director Oshii to direct Lupin, and he came up with a concept where Lupin wasn't there. Like what? That kind of proposal. He started working on it, but it was rejected. He's the kind of creator who makes films like Urusei Yatsura, Beautiful Dreamer. So that's just how he is, right? Eventually, even he had to admit it was too much, and various people told him, that's enough. Around that time, the Ghost in the Shell project came up, and he made Ghost in the Shell with the intention of creating a hit to get his career back on track. That's why his works created during troubled times are the most interesting. Even with Patlabor, which came first, many of his masterpieces emerged when people around him were saying, you shouldn't do that. With Patlabor, they insisted he must make the protagonist succeed, so that's how Patlabor turned out. With Ghost in the Shell, he aimed to create something truly beautiful, and that's how it became what it is. But when he said he wanted to make what he truly wanted to make, he created things like Blood, the last vampire in recent years, and everyone said they couldn't understand it, though I personally love it. He's always been someone who creates such works, but Ghost in the Shell is truly a magnificent piece that perfectly balances entertainment value and artistic vision. I really felt that Japanese anime was finally gaining mainstream recognition in America when Ponyo on the Cliff was displayed prominently on DVD and Blu-ray shelves at major retailers. This was around 2009, I believe, and I remember going to buy it right after its release. I was surprised to see it selling quite briskly in stores. At that time, most of the people purchasing it were Asian, and they clearly seemed familiar with Studio Ghibli. Oh, this right here, this. Now, OpenAI is using the term Ghiblification in their ChatGPT demonstrations, to show off like, look at what else we can do. They were doing that thing where they show an ordinary scene and then transform it all into Ghibli style, right? It really made me realize once again how deeply Ghibli has penetrated global culture. And since this is a podcast, I can say something irresponsible. I think Miyazaki Hayao probably said somewhere that Ghibli is all about hand drawing. That's everything to us. So there's this theory that AI companies making this possible is kind of a clap back at him. Well, someone who truly knows something definitive would never speak in such absolute terms, but Studio Ghibli really is that significant as a cultural pillar. Of course, there's the business scale, but beyond that, it might be something that Western cultures could absolutely never produce themselves. And this week, that's right, I could have mentioned this in the news segment, but Grave of the Fireflies will be streaming on Netflix. You see, Ghibli films are actually available worldwide on Netflix outside of Japan. Back then, distribution systems weren't as developed, The This Is Amazing reputation mostly spread through videotapes and other media. Until recently, even Ghibli films that earned 10 or 20 billion yen in Japan weren't widely released internationally. So that's how it was. But that all changed rapidly, and now they need to get international viewers first. Through Netflix's streaming service, though I think Disney handles distribution in America, so it probably isn't available there. Studio Ghibli films can be watched in many countries around the world. They've been available internationally, but not in Japan, their home country. However, news broke this week that Grave of the Fireflies will begin streaming from July 15th. This isn't a Miyazaki film, though. It's directed by Isao Takahata, the other master. Their artistic styles are quite different, very different, in fact. But the theme of this work is definitely, it's a film so heartbreaking that I wonder how people from other countries will react to it. For those listening from overseas, it's a tragic story about how ordinary boys and girls suffered terribly during wartime, specifically World War II. When it was first released, they actually showed this as a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro. When I was around second year of junior high, it was 88, so first or second year of junior high. Anyway, compared to My Neighbor Totoro, with its overwhelmingly positive atmosphere, this film was completely the opposite. And since they were showing as a double feature, if you entered at the wrong time, you'd end up with a totally different feeling. While it's a film that's being released in theaters, Grave of the Fireflies is probably already streaming overseas. I'm not sure about that part. But the streaming in Japan just starts from July 15th. I'm sure people overseas have already seen it. I wonder what their reactions were. In Japan, there's a reason this film is shown on TV in August, And after that, we also had films like In This Corner of the World. It's officially getting a theatrical release now, but apparently it's been streaming overseas since last September. I see. I suppose this happened because of agreements with rights holders and various other factors. Weekly Global Top 10 coming in at number 7. It's undeniably a masterpiece as a film. But man, this is definitely not something you watch while eating dinner or having a party with friends. So there was that news, but there's a bit more to it. As for Capane, speaking of what I've been watching lately, I started watching Licorice Recoil because it often comes up as a recommendation. It really feels like a high-quality Japanese anime. Director Shingo Adachi's Licorice Recoil recently released a short film, and it delivers exactly what fans have been wanting. While there is some action, it primarily showcases director Adachi's preference for depicting everyday life rather than focusing on battles. And then, since I'm from the first Gundam generation, I've been watching Ziek X with great excitement. There's been this theory all week that it's based on Nogizaka 46. I actually bought some kamaboko sushi. Seriously, how would you even translate kamaboko sushi or ring fine into English? The stern, middle-aged guy who keeps everyone in check is voiced by Hiroaki Hirata, and I really love his voice. That's what I received. It's true, right? He plays an uncool middle-aged guy, but if you listen carefully to his voice, isn't it actually super cool? Having someone with a cool voice perform an uncool character, that's the skill of Japan's veteran voice actors who've built their careers. They all do it. Let's continue with Forte. The direction of this conversation is quite similar. Yoppie, hello, this is Forte. Thank you for your advice about just hitting play if you're hesitant to start watching anime, and that even creators don't overthink it. I took your advice and managed to watch the first 3 episodes of Lazarus. This time the mastermind is Yama-chan, but you know how Koichi Yamadera has that way of seeming both uncool yet still somehow cool at the same time, right? That's Lazarus. Since I was watching Lazarus while doing other things, it was more like listening than watching. It reminded me of those cassette tapes from back in the day that only had anime audio on them. I used to have blank cassettes for recording Meguriai Sora. It also reminds me of when they broadcast just the audio of the 3rd Gundam series on the radio. It's basically a radio drama, like All Right Japan from Space Battleship Yamato, where Keisuke Fujikawa wrote the script specifically for radio drama format. Even so, I can still follow the story, and I notice things I usually wouldn't, like the voice actors' performances and the quality of the BGM, which makes it enjoyable, especially with Lazarus having such an impressive voice cast. But let me just say one thing. Lazarus is directed by Shinichiro Watanabe. Director Shinichiro Watanabe is one of the coolest anime directors of all time when it comes to sound direction. The great thing about anime is that you can perfectly control the voice actors in ways you can't with live action. Yeah, exactly. Like, think about the freeway scene in the opening of La La Land. If even one person had messed up, it would have been absolutely hopeless. But with anime, you can make corrections so you can match everything perfectly to the sound. And with Lazaro, it has the coolest sound I've seen in years from a DJ perspective. I totally get that. The thing is, if a work doesn't hit the right rhythm, watching it becomes a real chore. You might find contradictions in the story, but that matters less than how cool the sound direction is. It tells its own story. Lazaro is the ultimate example of this. So Forte's idea to watch Lazaro casually, or rather, to watch it with your ears, was spot on. You know, Lazaro, this time the music is really cool, and of course the action is awesome too. But what really stands out to me is the sound. I truly believe that's what makes Lazaro visible. I mean, Lazaro, you could almost watch it with the screen covered up. No, it's that cool. And you can tell they made sure the voice actors don't have that problem, where character A and character B sound similar, but have different vibes. It's like a band with 2 bass players, which is super rare. Right? The sound ranges don't overlap. It's so musically well crafted and just plain cool, Lazaro. And after Lazaro, there's Apocalypse Hotel that popped up in my Amazon Prime recommendations. Yes, it's my absolute favorite right now, and I'm enjoying watching it. Really enjoying it. I'm thinking about checking out Ave Musica next. That sounds good? Ave Musica is good too, though it's the opposite direction, but I think both work. It's great to see the increase in listener mail for the program. I'm also curious about the anime others are recommending, as well as international anime projects. Personally, I'm really into King Gainer right now. You know, director Yoshiyuki Tomino created King Gainer because after making serious robot shows, he wanted to make a more humorous robot series. But honestly, I still don't quite understand King Gainer even now. Anyway, it's getting hot these days, so please take care of yourselves. I'm looking forward to the next broadcast. Thank you. By the way, I also frequently discuss anime on streams that can be watched internationally. If you're interested, please check out my YouTube and other platforms. You can usually find my streams linked from my posts. And here's another message from Barcelona. The apricot season is starting, isn't it? Hello, this is Barcelonianco. So, I went to see The Apricot Neko in theaters here in Barcelona. Wait, where is The Apricot Neko from again? Yamagata, maybe? I'm pretty sure it's a local specialty film. Anyway, I've been told the animation quality is guaranteed and that Yoshida-san would absolutely love it. But I still hadn't seen The Apricot Neko until now. Anyway, Mirai Moriyama's acting was perfect for Anzu-chan's neutral expressions. It was amazing. The rotoscoping makes the character movements incredibly natural, but I was captivated throughout by the mix of exaggerated facial expressions and unique depictions of sweat and other anime elements. The 90-minute runtime flew by, and it was an adorable film, wrapped in both hilarious and poignant moments. Oh, South Izu? That's where Bakeneko Anzu-chan is from. The manga artist is Takashi Imajo. He's known for his realistic slice-of-life style, but Bakeneko Anzu-chan has a more heartwarming, soulful direction. By the way, in Spanish movie theaters, they turn the lights on immediately after the movie ends, and the end credits start rolling. What? I'm the type who likes to reflect on the movie and stay immersed in that world during the end credits, but this completely ruins it. Yeah, I know what you mean. What's worse, the cleaning staff even comes in and sometimes tosses popcorn containers and soda cups down toward the front. It's as if they're trying to bury everything the audience just experienced. Is it normal outside of Japan for lights to come on during the end credits? Cappuccina-san, is it like that in America too? Well, we finally started a conversation here. It's a message board after all. Only in Japan. Wait, I don't think I've ever watched a movie outside of Japan. I've never watched a movie outside Japan. No, never. I've seen movies outside Tokyo, but still in Japan a few times. Like when I happened to be in Sapporo on the release day of Evangelion, so I watched it there. Or when I saw Formula 91 in Osaka when I was in high school. All robot-related memories, I notice. But overseas, I spent a long time in Beijing, but I was always working, so did I see movies in China? No, I didn't. And when I spent a month in Washington, D.C., I went to see American football, but I didn't bother going to the movies. I did watch JFK before going there, though, thinking, this feels so American. Nope, never seen a movie abroad, so I wouldn't know about that. In Japan, it never continues straight into the end credits. The trailer started, but I remember once at Theater Ikebukuro when a trailer began with only audio playing but no video. Was that Do You Remember Love, Macross-san? I'm not sure. I definitely remember going to see something, and for the first 3 minutes nothing appeared on screen. The theater staff hadn't noticed, so I witnessed customers going to inform them that nothing was showing. Was it Vampire Hunter D? Which one was it? Either way, I've personally encountered situations like that. You're right. Even though Nemoto-kun, the writer Nemoto-kun, says Marvel and C-Part might not keep it bright. That makes sense. If they made it bright, you wouldn't see the ending. Actually, quite a few stories have twist endings, don't they? Yeah, after the growl. I mean, lately in the end credits of fully CG animated shows, they're deliberately adding blooper reels even though it's all CG, right? That's during the end titles. I wonder why they do that. This should be easy to answer, so could you please respond? To those listening around the world. In your country, when do they turn the lights on in movie theaters? I'm curious about that. Well, if possible, I think at least Capine from America might be able to answer this. Even within Japan, if there's something like in Nagano, they turn the lights on, I'd like to know about that too. Is that even a thing? And that's it for Yoshida's Japan Anime News powered by Newtype ending. When posting your thoughts about the show on social media, please use the hashtag #Janime. If you have feedback about the program or anime news you'd like me, Yoshida, to talk about, please send an email. Actually, recently I've been thinking there are things I want to ask people from Barcelona, and I think they would probably answer. Please send your messages to janime@242.com. I'll be back next week with the latest anime news. This has been Hisanori Yoshida, announcer for Nippon Broadcasting.